Welcome to this tutorial for legal requirements for business records. This is a research program that's put out by Donald Skupski of Information Requirements Clearinghouse. It's a software program that has a database of legal text from state, federal, regulatory, case, and international laws and regulations. Rather than just a sequential text file, it's an organized database in which it's indexed by various classifications that make this much more accessible and easy for you to get at. We're going to review basically how the program is laid out and how to use it. There are search tools within the program that allow you to get at the laws from different angles. Now, the basic organization of the program, and I'll be using these terms throughout the tutorial, are as follows. This is the menu bar. Clicking on the menu bar, or one of the words, allows you to access different menus that list different functions within the program. This section in this window is going to be the index window. You'll see the various indexes which are organized in a hierarchical outline format. Because the various laws are indexed by an outline index organization, if you're on a particular law, it could be located in an index titled States, Arkansas, Issuing Agency, and in order to help you keep track of where you are, this window right here is basically going to list the levels of the various index and listing where you are in the law file. This is the main display area right here. This is the opening graphic. Each one of these buttons will take you to different parts of the program. This program is organized by different files. There's the index file, which contains all the organization information, and then there's the text of law file, which basically contains the raw text itself. The reference file basically contains the court cases and articles, and then the two files are basic content and help. Now, one item of legal requirements that makes it very helpful are the various search tools. And when you do a search, the window that you see right here, the hit reference, is going to show you basically the location and the context of each one of the searches or hits. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Now, there's some tabs across the bottom that open various windows. I suggest using and keeping the program on the All tab. That way you see the four-window organization. Sometimes if the window changes and you're not clear why it doesn't look the way you're familiar with, check down here and click on the All tab. That will bring you back to this layout and organization. Now, this item right down here, that's going to be the search bar. And briefly, what it enables you to do is the program will save your last 10 to 20 searches, and they are accessible by clicking on this drop-down list box. You just click on a search that you've done. It will list the results, and then to move between the results of your search, you use these two sets of icons. The large icons enable you to basically move from occurrence to occurrence or hit to hit. Let's say you do a search on the word tax. That search right then may occur several times within a paragraph or within a particular law. And as you move backwards or forwards through all of the hits that you found within the text of law files, it's going to go from word or phrase to occurrence of word or phrase. Now, let's say you want to move from law to see what laws will pull up with that particular search that you have done. The small icons here basically will reference, the program calls it partition to partition, but an easier way to think about it is from law to law. Let's move on to the next section of this tutorial. Let's begin with learning how to maneuver around the program. Now, let's begin with the opening graphic. The first time you go into the program, click on the content. That will show you just a general file here. Now, again, here is the index in the index window of the current file that's open. The contents file, and you can tell which file or which window you are on by looking at the colored menu bar. We are in the contents file. Now, in the contents file, it basically gives you a short outline of the various sections of the program. Statutes, regulations, international law. The indices for the United States laws and regulations are organized by agency, industry, jurisdiction, revisions. The text is basically the text of laws, state government law, and case law. Now, every time you open a new file within the program, you'll see a header at the top, this graphic header, and it will have the same buttons to help you move around in the law. Now, you have 4 laws in the program. Each window can have a different focus. To give a window focus, and this is a general Windows term, you click inside the window. Now, here you see the cursor flashing, which means that you've already clicked there and it shows that that window is active. In a couple of the files, such as the index files and the text of law files, it is a large file. You can move from top to bottom and cover quite a bit of area. A quick shortcut to move around the file is the following keys. Let's say you use the scroll bar on the side to move down to the bottom of the law, and since that window has focus, a quick way to move to the top is to press the following key combination. Hold the Control key down and then press Home, and that takes you to the top of the file. This is handy if you want to move to another part of the program, such as the index files or the text of law files. You can do the same to move to the bottom of the file by holding the Control key and hitting the end. So let's go back to the top. Now, every time you open a file, it opens a different set of windows. Alright? The way you move between the windows is you go up to the menu bar, you click on Window, and then you go down to this section. Here's our original opening window. Here is our contents file window. Let's go next to the index files. Let's click on the index icon. Now, we are in the index file and we receive visual feedback on the program in the menu bar, in the index window, and in the main display window. Now, we come back and take a look at where you're located window. We'll use that for a quick term. We're on the Index, Agency Index, United States. Now you can change the size of the window layout by moving the cursor to the dividing line and moving it either up or down. You can also move the various windows from side to side. And on the index file, a basic reference is you're not looking at the text of laws in this file. You are looking at the classifications that we've assigned to the various laws and regulations. Now, in the index window, you'll notice that every level of the index has an icon next to it, a plus sign or a minus sign. When it's a plus sign, it's basically showing that there is additional levels below it. When there's a minus sign, that basically means you've hit the lowest level for that portion of the index. The checkbox next to it is basically used for if you're wanting to reference certain laws for printing later. We'll take a look at that. Let's expand the index. Okay. The index file is divided into 4 types of indices: agency, industry and subject, jurisdiction, and revisions. Now, all of the laws in the text of law files and regulations are accessible through the 3 first top levels of the index. Issuing agencies, whether it be a legislative or a regulatory body. Industry and subject, that's a classification that we assign according to the nature and definition of the law for your reference. What portions or parts of your business or organization are dealt with within this program. And then the jurisdiction law, which basically shows where is the law or regulation applicable for. So rather than going to the law and then figuring these out, you can start with the things that you're familiar with, such as an issuing agency, what type of industry and subjects you're researching, or are you researching jurisdictions? Let's expand each one of these levels. Agencies, we have United States and international. Under United States, that's divided into federal and state. Under federal, United States, the various departments. Under state agencies, the various states. Or we can go back up, and just for illustration, we can expand or contract that particular level of the indices. Let's take a look at industry and subject. United States or international. Click on United States. Let's expand this window a little bit so we can see the titles. United States federal law, state law general, state law government. And then the case law, which basically pertains to the articles and court cases. Let's stay with United States federal. Then basically you see the general industries. Now, when we make a reference to industry and subjects. Basically, the subjects would be the detail portions of each industry. The industries that have subjects assigned to them are basically marked by the plus sign, which means there are levels below it. Expand or contract. You can read each one of those. Under state law general, again, we go with the same industry and subject classifications for laws within that particular area. Let's go ahead and compress that. Let's go to jurisdiction, United States laws, federal law. Okay. Jurisdiction, again, that's done on an industry basis. State law, that's done on a state-by-state basis. State law government, again, by states, and so forth. Now, international law covers the following countries. You can take a look at that for your reference later. Now, revisions, whenever an update comes out, we basically make accessible within the revisions index all the laws and regulations and where they're from, when they were revised, and what was done, added, deleted, superseded, and such. Let's go to the top of the indexes by clicking on the display window and then doing a Control Home. Now, so far in the tutorial, we've opened 3 windows, and we can take a look at what they are. The opening window, click on the contents window, and now the index window. As you move through the index, let's say you want to take a look at agency, United States federal government, expand, and Department of Agriculture. Now, in the display area, that brings you to what we call links. You'll notice that the cursor changes. What is appearing in basically a purple or a burgundy type, they are links. If you're familiar with web browsing, a link will basically take you to the law that's referenced by the link. You can tell when a link is. We also provide additional screen feedback by how the cursor changes. It changes into a pointing hand. All right? Select, for example, agriculture. Now, when you click on this, what it's going to do is take you over. It's going to open the text of law files, take you over there, and show you the law that is referenced by this link. Let's do that. We're going to click on the Agricultural Marketing Service link. Now, that takes us to the text of law files. We can tell it's the text of laws because we look up in the colored bar at the top of the window and it says text of laws. Now, text of laws has its own index too. All right. Agriculture, that was the link that we clicked on. Let's take a look at the search tools within Retention Manager. And usually the search tools are most applicable when you're searching on the text itself. You can do a search within the index file, but it's as easy to navigate through the index. Let's take a look at it, the index file, by just opening and expanding the various levels of the indices. Now, let's move back to the text of law files by clicking on Window and going down to Text of Laws. In here, now this is the header. It says where it's from, the various information, the header information concerning it, agriculture, chapter, the issuing. Down here we have the issuing agent. The text is highlighted because we have done a search result from the index files. Let's go back to that. All right. When you click on a link within the index files, for example, let's go back to agency, agriculture, commodities future trading commission. We move to the text of law files and basically see the layout of the screen as if a search was done. All right. The indexes. One thing that's helpful when you're in the text of law files, so you can keep track of where you are within the using the index window, click in the index window and then go up to View and expand all. All right. What happens? Let's get back to the law we were at by going back to Indexes and then clicking on Commodity Future Units. All right. First thing is that law appears within the display window. Where you are window up here shows that you're, according to the index for this file, United States law, federal law, regulations, and then the number. Now, with each law and regulation in legal requirements for business records is assigned what we call an LRBR number. The U.S. It's basically a format showing the issuing agency and an organization, how it's organized. Then there's the CFR number. Let's reduce that window a little bit and get back to the main display. Now, over in the index window, you see that the law that you're on, the LRBR number 217-08-0008-00, is also highlighted in the index window. If you go from law to law, basically this little outline box is going to show the corresponding LRBR number. Now, what this is useful in is if you're doing a search for particular laws that you want to print out, basically what you do is you would just click on the checkbox as you go through this. And we will accumulate checkboxes and take a look at how this is useful in just a few minutes. Now, let's go down to the hit reference window. Remember our link that we clicked on back in the index files was Commodity Futures Trading Commission. All right, let's go back to the text of law files, Windows, text of laws. And basically, you see the results of that link search. It shows each law that has been referenced and then the context. You know, it is a sentence, it may be a title or portion of information in the law, all right? And it highlights those down here. Now, a way to move between the various occurrences, first you can use the hit reference window and just click on each occurrence that occurs. Just scroll down, click on the highlighted context parts, and you notice how the display window changes. Another way to move back and forth is going down to the search bar down here and using the icons. Remember, there's two sets of icons, moving from hit backwards or forwards from occurrence to occurrence, or moving from law and regulation to the next law and regulation. So if we move back and forth, you see how the display window changes, how the box on the corresponding index window changes, and also the where you are window or reference window up here shows your current location. Now, let's get into some of the other search tools within the program. All right. Most of the basic functions in the program are accessible through the menu bar and also function keys. Let's do a basic search. All right. Click on Search and go select Query. You'll get a basic window in which you can type out a word or phrase that you want to look for. Let's do the word tax. Click OK. Okay. Says that there's an error on that. Let's go ahead and close that window and go to the advanced query. Now basically the advanced query is the tool that I recommend for any of your searches. Let's take a look at how it's organized. All right. The word window, basically that lists every single word that is in the text of law file or the current open file. All right. Partitions with hits. All right. Now basically that's going to show you how many occurrences of the words and or the phrase that you type in. Now down here in the checked branches box, let's say you want to take a look at particular laws, let's say within a state or an issuing agency. You would check those first in the index window and then open the advanced query, which would be search advanced query or function key 3, and it will confine the search results to the checked branches. There's also something you can do concerning using parentheses to help you group. We're basically dealing with, if you are familiar with the term Boolean logic, which is basically saying take this word and you can say take a set of words and say look for this word and that word, or this word or that word. So basically if you use the word and, that would mean in combination. If you use the word or, then that would mean either or. Let's take a look at, we want to search for IRS tax. What laws or such are we going to? And we're going to look through the entire text of laws file. First we'll type the word tax, and as you type, notice, we'll do it again. Notice as I type how the word file moves towards the characters that I'm typing, and you'll see the results or number of hits in the partitions with hits windows, T-A-X. Okay? You see it selected the word tax, and it shows that there's 2,622 occurrences of it within this file. Let's add the word IRS by going space IRS. Now, what you see is an occurrence of over 2,000 occurrences of the word tax, but 14 occurrences of the words IRS. Now, what that does is it takes both of those and says that there are 9 laws or regulations that have both words within them. So let's click OK and take a look at what those are. Okay? The hit reference window down here shows that regulations, what the context sentence in which the search occurs, or the occurrence of the search word occurs. The next one, the context. Now you can use the hit reference, but I recommend using the icons to move back and forth. Moving from occurrence to occurrence, which means basically if the word occurs several times within a regulation or a law, that will just move from occurrence to occurrence within the same law. You can see the general context of how it occurs, and it highlights the occurrence of each of your search terms in here. All right. Now, let's say you want to see what laws or regulations it pulled up. and that information is best shown or illustrated in the header of the law or regulation. That's where you go to the smaller icons. You click moving from law and law to regulation. And you see how the numbers change in the index window, in the reference window, and in the display window. Texas, United States federal government. Now if you reach the end of the search results, then what happens is the icon grays out and you can go backwards. Now let's say you wanted to print out all of these occurrences. Okay, you go to the first occurrence or law, you click that. Hit the next partition button and it stays on where you've clicked. Alright, you might use the confined to that. Alright, now as you check the various laws, that's going to come into use when you do printing. Let's take a look at that in just a second. Now, let's do another search here. Press F3 or the function key. As you move from occurrence to occurrence or law to law, you can check the relevant laws as you go. All right. Now, where this comes into play, as you check the laws, this would be useful for if you wish to print the laws. Now, once the items are checked, you go up to the menu bar, select File, Print. All right, that brings up a window. You want to be on the Print Document tab, and you'll notice it has a list down here that basically contains the contents of the index window. You click on Section, and then you click OK. And that will print the laws out, the checked laws that you wish for to your printer. Let's cancel to get out of this. Now, basically, this is the context in which you use the program. Remember the drop-down box. That will take you to the previous search. So it's a good way to move back and forth. It will keep the searches will be saved from for each time that you stop and start the program. You know, what you do for this session will be saved the next time and available when you run the program again. Now, basically when you're doing research, you'll want to take a look in the index file, so let's go to that. And you can do searches in here if you like for particular results. Take a look at Office of Management. You click on that, it takes you over to the text of law files and highlights those search results. You can move to see what it's showing you from law to law. You can go back to the index file and look up another area. United States Postal Service. Let's see, and you can see what's applicable with that. So basically what we've covered so far is how to get into the program, how the program is laid out, how to open the different files, and then moving between the different files. One thing to keep in mind is the index window. It can be a little bit confusing. Remember, the checkboxes basically are saying I want to look at this law or I want to print this law. When you have something checked, just single click on it. When you click the advanced query or F3, what happens is when something is checked in the index window, it will by default assume that you just want to check the checked branches. So remember to have this box appropriately checked or unchecked according to what type of search you want to do. Now, let's say you've checked a number of laws within the index, but you're going to do something else now, and it's kind of a pain to go through and manually uncheck each one of those. If you click up on the word view on the menu bar, you can go down to clear all checks, and basically that'll clear every checked item within the index window. Now, another item just for this display information is when you check a particular law, it is going to check all the items above it. All right, for example, if you click a lower item, it's going to highlight and check all the items above it. All right? But if you click an upper level item, then basically that will check all the items below it and the items above it. So remember, if you check United States laws, as you expand it, you are going to get all the laws and all the regulations under that. So keep in mind the outline hierarchical formation of this. Now, this tutorial will be revised as changes are made within the program. If you have a current support and update agreement with information requirements for this program, please at any time contact us with questions or concepts you might have. We'll be glad to talk with you concerning the laws or regulations that you find within the program, or if you have a specific type of how do I find this or application of the program, give us a call. Our support number is 303-721-7500. Our email address for support is support@irch.com. We hope this has been helpful to you, and thank you for your time. Thank you.